That's right, Chuck.
Hello there.
Assemble.
You just chuck a bomb.
Come together.
99 Nerds Podcast.
We're back.
The three of us.
We're back. Finally, at last. It's been who knows how long.
Episode 49 is coming in so hot, we're like Icarus hot.
Oh my gosh.
Into
Hot
the
enough for the sun. Just as hot as Dave is.
Oh,
Dude, it is warm in here.
you're wearing 7 layers. We're here today to talk about the Ahsoka series. A long anticipated. I mean, shoot, we were talking about Ahsoka series back in episode 2?
0 even.
Oh my gosh.
The entire podcast was founded on Ahsoka.
I recall telling Sean, like, oh, they're going after Ezra. And Sean's like, is Ezra the key? And I was like, no.
I was like, Ezra, that's the guy who helped bring the exiled Jews back from Syria.
Less important
Into-
Ezra. Different one. He's quippy and he's cool, but he's not the key. David,
What?
what even is this podcast without you?
Without me. Depends on the subject, really.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I forgot to say, on a scale of 1 to nerd, we are 99, and this is podcasting. David,
Yeah.
what's your favorite podcast?
I like Theo Von.
Yeah, he's funny.
This one's all right.
Come on, man.
But
I'm standing right here. Sitting. So David, you watched Ahsoka?
I did.
How many weeks ago?
Like a month and a half ago,
Yeah, it was a while ago.
to be honest.
I saw it recently.
Good,
And that's why we're here.
because Sean saw it
You guys
recently.
wanted to talk about it ASAP Rocky, and I was like, well, no, wait, let me see it first.
Let me take
And then
a
I
month and a half to watch it.
dragged my feet.
That's okay, Sean. I understand. So, Sean,
Yes. Hello.
did you watch those episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels that we told you to?
I did.
And what happened to you physically?
Oh, boy, I cringed out of my skin.
Yeah?
It's kid shows.
Come on, man. I'm a kid. Sometimes.
I watched all of your Mortis, Madness,
Rigor mortis.
Heresy. I watched your World Between Worlds nonsense.
See, that was a very controversial thing when that episode aired.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it was like, so wait, they're breaking all time and space?
What if you could pull somebody out of their own timeline?
Yeah.
How about you just don't go down that road?
Dave Filoni really made sure he pulled out all the stops to save his beloved Ahsoka.
Like Dave Baloney.
Ooh, ain't that the truth? Wow. Sean, did you count how many times did Rosario Dawson cross her arms?
Dude.
It wasn't worth it. I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw up every time.
I told you, that is a very Ahsoka thing. She does it a lot in the Clone Wars. She does it a lot in Rebels. But she doesn't do it with such a pompous attitude and like look on her face of just like, And I think that's what made the crowd really resent Rosario.
Yeah, do you want to just talk about Rosario Dawson for a minute?
We can, yeah. Go for it.
Did she do a good job?
No.
I would say no.
Dang.
I don't like her as Ahsoka.
It just doesn't translate.
No.
Animation to real life, it doesn't translate.
What could have been done? What was the missing piece?
A different actress.
Ashley Eckstein.
And maybe an extra few hours a week training lightsaber dueling.
Instead of 2 hours a day.
Was that what it was? Was it? I can't remember. Was it 14 hours a week?
It was 14 hours a week.
Okay. I remember.
Because she was like, she's like, oh, Rosario Dawson's been training 14 hours 2 hours a day for Ahsoka. I'm like, it's your job.
I saw a post soon after
And then,
Ahsoka.
you know what? I saw the show. And you know what? It showed.
I saw a tweet soon after the show debuted, and it was a clip of Ahsoka from Clone Wars. You know, one of the many clips of her just going ham. Just this epic. I think it was the episode on Mandalore where she cuts like 5 dudes' heads off in one shot. All these fast pace. Her blade is just a blur because she's so fast. She's dual wielding. She's fighting off 7 blasters at one time. and they said the fundamental issue with this Ahsoka show
Yeah.
is that Ahsoka's fighting style just cannot translate to real life. You can't do it in real life. It's too fast.
Clunky.
It's too clunky in real life, yeah.
I think that I've always found the animation stuff in honest, I'm not here to poo-poo your precious Clone Wars. I guess I've always found the translation of Star Wars into that 3D, that like CG animation, less than ideal. And I've always been a little bit annoyed by the kind of, I don't know, like kind of awkward animation in the fighting. It's this very like whippy.
Yeah.
It's like move sets. It reminds me of a fighting game. It doesn't feel like, and I know I'm asking too much from CG artists
Sure.
for a children's television show. I don't mean to be.
It's because you
asking too
saw
much.
Across the Spider-Verse.
It's because I saw Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight to the death when I was 8, and it changed the world.
That's true.
And nothing else has ever touched it. And so
That's true. I will say though, David, I think you recently sent it to me. It was a compilation of every Order 66 scene that we have thus far. Everything that's canon, because we saw a little clip from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show with Reva as a kid. We've seen more with the Mandalorian and the child and Grogu having all these flashbacks, yada yada. So it was a compilation of all of it.
and I'm at best.
And it concludes with Ahsoka fighting off Rex.
Okay.
And in my opinion, that scene slaps the hardest.
Fighting Rex?
Defending herself from Rex and all of his boys.
Was the Rex the one she was able to like
She knocks him out,
turn his thing off?
and then she takes out his inhibitor chip, yeah. But that fast-paced, the music that's playing, it's like, it was the most emotionally charged scene out of all the compilations, other than the movie scenes, because the movie scenes are just so much higher in quality. You know what I mean?
Wow, what a thoroughly plot armored character Dave Filoni has made for
Well,
himself.
yeah, he really has. But I mean, I think
He's a coward. He doesn't have the guts to kill her off.
How about we just take this like character by character?
I like that.
So we start with Ahsoka. What did you think, David?
Like from episode 1 to episode 8.
As a whole, we don't have to go timeline wise, but just like
As a whole, like
As a
from
whole.
Clone Wars the movie to the Clone Wars
No.
show to Rebel.
If Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka walked in right now, would you give her
Get out.
Oh no.
And don't cross your arms. No, cartoon Ahsoka's great, but I don't know what it is. Something's lost in the real life interpretation of it.
Yeah.
She's very like slow moving and like she comes off as like smug and like arrogant.
yeah, smug.
Well, you should have said something.
I did, but you never.
That's a good word.
I mean, I have limited understanding of Ahsoka. Obviously, I didn't watch all of Clone Wars, but I watched enough, and they don't seem like, whatever, dude. It's like a teenager to a full-grown adult. I understand there's going to be a totally different personality, but she doesn't even seem like the same person.
Right.
No.
That's what I felt. And I don't think they necessarily did a good job considering this is Ahsoka's show. Like her name is in the title. I don't think they did a good job of like telling a story with her. This show was just kind of all over the place with random things.
It was really just Rebels continued.
Yeah, it was season 5 of Rebels.
It's kind of the Sabine show.
We'll get to her. Well, we get that clip of the young Ahsoka. And Sean,
Yeah, that was great.
before you saw that episode, I said, you get this flashback with a young Ahsoka, and it's so good. And we talked about it's the same actress that played young Gamora in Endgame. Or Infinity War, whichever it is, whatever. And it's like, dang, like that is Ahsoka. And then it goes back to Rosario, and you're like,
Oh man, the contrast. It was the thing that kind of just like totally brightened my day. I was like, I can't believe how this little girl is just acting circles around.
seriously.
Rosario Dawson's a great actress. That's
Yeah.
the thing that's weird. I think, I think probably the problem with the show was like just direction director-ish directional stuff.
I told you
would-
after a
maybe
few
it worked.
episodes, I felt like the dialogue in the show was like super clunky, and it was very like line, beat, beat, beat,
Yeah.
line, beat, beat. And it's just like there's way too much pausing in between. There was no emotion, there was no energy behind it, which would obviously be the directing.
He was a good master.
And Ahsoka probably suffers the most from it because she's, the story focuses so much on her. She has to say a lot.
So what would you say, like closing thoughts on Rosario and then just like Ahsoka's story in this first season? Or potentially first season. I don't know if they're doing another one or not.
I mean, no, it sounds like they're getting some movies going.
Right.
Which I think might... like the way the show is, it makes me feel like... Or it makes me think that Dave Filoni got a green light on movies. And they kind of were like, okay, we're in the middle of finishing Mando season 3 and writing Ahsoka. So I guess we're just going to get rid of Gideon. Just kill him off. And then Ahsoka, we kind of have to just leave open-ended because then we get our trilogy of movies. So like the last couple shows have just kind of felt off. I don't know.
Sure.
Like,
I felt like there wasn't enough resolution. Like I thought just more was going to happen.
right. Nothing really happens. And I guess to answer your question about Ahsoka, I don't feel like they really set the tone of like what this was about. There's no arc. It was just kind of like,
Well, I mean,
and you like later find out she's like she has like survivor guilt of like Anakin. She like feels, what's the word? Guilt for Anakin, I guess.
sure.
She feels like she let him down or something. But
Man, it's like we never got a chance to see a whole show about a character regretting their relationship with Anakin falling to the dark side, and maybe even having to confront him at some point in the show
right.
on a desert planet.
So, I mean, that kind of leads to, do we want to talk about Anakin next?
Yeah. That
Okay.
was probably the best part of the whole
Hey.
show.
Right.
Shout out to Hayden Christensen.
Shout out, dude.
It was nice to see him.
Props.
I don't respect the decision as much as I don't know. I guess it's like you got this ridiculous Deus Ex Machina thing you built into the Rebels, so might as well
Right.
use it. Bring out Hayden.
So, Sean, we said it was really important that you watch that
World Between Worlds,
World Between Worlds and then the other Clone Wars story arc.
Mortis.
Because they were definitely setting up this father, daughter, son trinity thing.
But do you know about the mother?
No.
You don't.
Listen, I don't. Learn me.
It's from Legends.
Okay.
So, at the very end of the show, we see Balin standing on that rock mountain of the
yeah.
guy pointing. So these are...
A cliffhanger, one might say.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Hanging on a cliff. They fly now! And that's why they call him Cliffhanger.
dang. I wanted to play off of that, but my brain isn't firing. I was going to say hangnail.
Okay.
Don't.
Because
He's
he's like on this figure.
That's a good point.
No, so what's cool at the very end, we see this dude in the mountain. Well, to all the real Star Wars fans out there,
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah.
they know
Not
in
Sean.
Clone Wars there is a 3-episode storyline about the Mortis gods, or Mortis, yeah, and these force beings that are stronger than pretty much any other force user we've seen. And on this planet, there's the father who kind of balances the force. He's the perfect balance of light and dark. There's the son who is fully dark. He's like the full embodiment of the dark side of the force. And then there's the daughter. And the daughter is like a pure light side of the force being. And basically the story is the father had Anakin. He like drew Anakin into the planet because he heard Anakin was the chosen one. So the father is testing Anakin to see if he is the chosen one. Long story short, Anakin makes the light side and the dark side bow to him, basically proving that he is the chosen one. So it's a really cool story. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it because they're definitely planning to do more with this.
Yep. And with Ahsoka, we see the Morai, her owl, which is kind of like a spiritual figure embodiment of the daughter.
Yes. So in this storyline, Ahsoka is killed, straight up dead.
Shawty got yoinked.
Wait,
The-
are you talking about the Mortis show?
In the Mortis episodes, she is killed.
Good.
The son kills her. The daughter, in her last dying breaths, uses her power. She like transfers her essence into Ahsoka to bring her back to life, which is really cool. And if you think about it, they're saying Anakin is supposed to replace the father as the guy to bring balance to the Force. But they're also
Hey, hold up. Now you're telling me I skimmed through this episode. You're telling me Dave Filoni went out of his way to also make his little weird orange girlfriend a literal member of the Trinity.
yeah,
Basically.
Good.
yeah,
It's
like
aren't you guys embarrassed? A little bit. That's awkward.
Yeah,
that's
but
really
like,
cool.
Sean, she cuts 5 Mandalorians' heads off in one swirl in an episode. It's freaking sweet.
Yeah, because you write it that way.
Yeah, I guess. Quick pause. Something I notice about myself, I listen to podcasts at 1.25 speed. So when I'm podcasting with you guys, I talk at 1.25 speed because that's what I'm listening to all the time. It's this pace. So I'm trying to slow myself down more because when someone wants to listen to it at 1.25 speed, I won't sound like a crackhead.
Brother, this guy stinks!
So anyway,
Well, what were we talking about? We were talking about.
Ahsoka is
We were touching on Mortis. Who cares? It's stupid. World Between Worlds is stupid. Because we're talking about Anakin.
right. So they bring in Anakin because Ahsoka essentially dies in this show again. She's not that great, obviously. See, that's the thing. Like,
She's running out of respawns.
the power dynamic of like some of the stuff we've seen Ahsoka do in Rebels and in Clone Wars is like,
she beat Darth Maul as a teenager.
Exactly.
In a lightsaber fight.
like completely destroyed him, and yet she
Talk about
can't.
power creep.
She gets owned by Baylan Skoll in this, and it's like, who the heck is this guy? So the consistency of what is Ahsoka capable of is really hit or miss. There was a couple scenes in this show where there was like a ship flying away, and I thought for sure she was gonna force grab it and pull it back, because that's exactly what she did in the finale arc of Clone Wars. So it's like, we've seen her do it before. She's now older, wiser, and more powerful, but she just won't do that again. I thought that sucked.
Yeah.
You know what else sucked? Episode 1, and you mentioned it when you were ripping apart it text by text.
I was doing live. I was doing like a live.
You were doing a
thread
stream of conscious rip apart. There was those stupid droids that literally had nukes in their chest.
Right.
That had like a 7-minute timer for Ahsoka to get out of there.
Really convenient.
It's like she runs out of there, and the explosion that happens behind her was 37 times bigger than it should have been.
It just overcomes the planet.
What the heck was that? So anyway, I had
Quick, get to the ship.
I had to get that off my chest. Go ahead, dude.
So do those guys.
Yeah, episodes 1 through 3 sucked, but it won me over.
Yeah.
What was the moment that won you guys over?
When they brought back Anakin, probably.
When they said the word Purgles.
Oh man. See, I misunderstood. Well, actually, something you guys pointed out that they gave a little Purgles cameo in an episode of The Mandalorian where they were going through hyperspace with Grogu.
Right.
But in my impression was like, oh, those Purgles look small. I don't know. They look like the size of a dolphin or something.
Sure.
But then you see the show and they're like the size of a city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how they are in Rebels?
Yeah, they're big. They're massive.
So the one Grogu saw was like really far away, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are speculating that Ahsoka was in that Purgle that Grogu saw, and he sensed her presence, and that's why he was viewing to the sky.
Maybe they should speculate that Grogu will become a Purgle because that's where that's where the Mandoverse is
Yeah, if
going.
Rey can
we don't
identify
know.
as a Skywalker, why can't
Oh.
Grogu?
We don't know his species. He might be in his early evolution stage. And then like a Pokemon, he will become a Purgle.
Oh man, Grogu's evolving. Good for him.
Learn hyperspace.
Thunderbolt. So yours was the Purgles, or are you joking?
That was kind of a joke. Honestly, like I'm trying to remember, the first few episodes were kind of stinkers, and I said like this is just classic Felonious. He does the same thing in Clone Wars where you get this 8-episode arc, and 3 of those episodes are gonna suck. But then he starts cooking, and it starts getting better and
Let
better.
him cook.
So the first 3 were kind of stinky. It just took so long to develop. Where is this going? Why is there so much Sabine? Why does she suck so bad? I mean, do we want to talk about Sabine now?
Yeah.
But it's like, to answer your question, I think the less Rosario there was, the less I was thrown off. And then when they finally did bring Ezra into the fold, I thought Ezra was done really well, and I thought that Hera's character was handled really well in this.
Oh boy.
Nope. I
Conflicts.
thought that Hera
Arguments.
from
disagreement.
real life Hera was very similar to Rebels Hera.
I didn't think so at all. There's
Other
no
than the-
accent.
Other than the fact that her Twillique things are supposed to go more sideways, and in the show they were straight back. I mean, technicalities, but also a major misstep. What the heck?
Do you think that when an actor is hired to play the part of an animated character,
Right.
that it is their job to emulate and impersonate that character as much as possible?
Well, without crossing your arms too much, yeah, I think so.
Because some might say, like, well, no, an actor should have the liberty to do a reinterpretation.
Sure.
Like if I was playing Oppenheimer
Here's what
in a
my
movie, I
here's-
don't have to act exactly like him. I have to embody him. in a
Here's
way.
my very selfish answer, Sean.
Yo, what's up?
It could go either way if you're good at it.
Oh my gosh.
If it's a reinterpretation and I think it sucks, then stop that. Go back to the animated series. I was gonna say one more thing. Shoot. Oh, within those first few episodes, anytime there was like a part that was kind of slow, or a part that I didn't care for, or a action sequence or a character story arc headed in a different direction, when I thought about it through the lens of if this was animated right now, what would I think?
Sure.
And it just became infinitely better in my head of like, if this was animated right now, I would like kind of see where they're going, and I would.
But is it because your standards would drop? Lower down a little bit? Let your guard down?
maybe a little bit. I'll be honest.
But when they're real people, you're like, this is ridiculous. This
Yeah,
is silly.
definitely.
For me, it was actually I just checked. One of the things I mentioned right away was in the beginning scene, basically it's Balin and his apprentice show up on that ship
Yeah.
to basically rescue Elspeth. Is that her name?
Yeah, Morgan.
Morgan Elspeth, which is funny because Elspeth is the name of a Magic the Gathering planeswalker,
Oh
so I was
my
confused.
gosh.
Anyway, but I thought it was funny because like in that scene they have a Mon Calamari as a security guard, and one of the things I'm like is I wrote, there's no way a Mon Calamari could make an effective security guard. It can't even hold a blaster with those flippers. So it's like that's the kind of thing that like once you actually put it on screen and you put
Right.
it like in the guy in the costume, you're like, this doesn't work. Hold on, guys.
Yeah. But that kind of strengthens my point that maybe this should have just been animated.
My first reaction though was like, boy, I want to look like Balin when I grow up.
Dude, you do look like Balin when you grow up.
Cool looking guy.
He is. R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah, so Balin is dead in real life.
Yeah.
Do you know when he died?
It was before the show came
It was,
out.
yeah, just before
So like
it dropped.
all scenes were filmed.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they probably did the bulk of their filming late 2022, early 2023.
Because they definitely had plans for that character.
Exactly. So
Now he's just gonna stand on that mountain.
Yeah. Or are they going to recast him?
so that's what I was gonna ask you. What do you think happened there? Because this guy is very like mysterious. And,
Yeah,
like,
they've got so much still to uncover with him.
Do you think they cut a lot of scenes? And what's better? Do you like honor his memory and just retire that character? And Or do you just recast it and just it's kind of like a slap in the face to him?
See, I don't really know what they were planning with him. If they were planning what everybody was speculating, especially with that last scene, that he is supposed to be the father figure, like, you still need that character. Especially if they're still stuck on that planet. Like, what's he... For them to just, like, forget about him. Or just, like, sweep it under the rug.
Or just animate it?
Just him.
No, like his journey, what he's doing, what's going on.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So let's tell you that.
I was saying like live action, but he shows up animated in the live.
Let me say this:
It's like
Balin,
Loki, Miss Minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Balin, out of nowhere, for no discernible reason, tells his apprentice, "I'm leaving now.
Yeah,
You're on your own.
right.
Good luck." And I felt like he's saying that to the audience, not to her, because. Like, I don't know. What was he trying to do? Was he trying to get to a statue this whole time? Was that what this was all about?
If you watched the Clone Wars episodes, we told you to.
I did. It doesn't answer a question, though.
It does.
He gets to a statue.
And he's pointing. Did you see the glow in the distance?
Yeah, I saw
exact
they
same
did a
scene.
ripoff of Lord of the Rings.
No, it's scene for scene from the Mortis episode.
I don't care.
Anakin goes, finds the father there. This time, did you see in the mountain? The son was right next to the father, but the daughter's head was cut off on his other side.
So are we trying to imply that, first of all, this is heresy, but we're trying to imply that this father embodiment of the spirit is in another galaxy, and Balin went all the way to another galaxy to find him?
Well, if you know Legends,
I don't care. The legend. Nobody knows Legends.
what
It
Dave
doesn't matter
Filoni
anymore.
does, and he keeps pulling from it.
So what's the
So,
legend?
in Legends,
Learn us.
Mortis. I already told you about the father, the son, the daughter. It's the perfect trinity. The father's perfectly balanced, the daughter's the light side, the son's the dark side.
Yeah.
But did you know there was a mother?
Bring it.
Her name is Abeloth,
Oh.
and she's whack.
Oh.
She's super, like, dark side, just bad. I think she was a human, and she tried to, like, get powers or do something in, I don't know, Legends does some wild stuff, but she became like this monster, and she was so bad that the father banished her to a certain planet, and just like, yeah. So Abeloth is this like monstrosity of a dark side power, and she's banished somewhere. So he took his kids to Mortis, or vice versa. He sent her somewhere else. I don't know. But that could be a storyline. But there's so much that they like opened up with a storyline.
Yeah.
There's so many loose ends they just created.
Exactly.
And they didn't tie any up.
Exactly.
So-
And that's what I was confused about in this show. I thought there would be so much more tie-up. So that, I mean, we kind of touched on Balin a little bit. Do we want to talk about Sabine now?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't care for her real life adaptation. Sean definitely didn't.
You
I
can tell Sabine is a spunky rogue, I wrote, because she misses appointments, has colored highlights, rides a motorcycle, and listens to rock music.
Yeah.
She's like the protagonist from Forspoken.
Right.
It's funny because I did not like her at all.
Yeah.
And then I realized she's actually exactly like Sabine from Rebels.
So
And I like Sabine in Rebels. So it's weird. I don't know. It's the real life interpretation.
Yeah.
I thought she looked worse when she cut her hair. I felt sad about that.
Well, I thought that scene was sweet because it perfectly rhymed. It echoes, like George Lucas said, with Kanan in Rebels.
Yeah.
Kanan cut his hair just like that.
Just like me.
It was symbolic, but
And then he died soon after. Like right after.
Just like Sabine died right
That's why
after.
I'm growing my hair
yeah,
out.
a giant F you to Qui-Gon. Yeah. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Come on.
They keep doing that. They keep doing that to our boy.
It's messed up. Sabine gets stabbed in the stomach and she lives the next episode.
Yeah.
Come on.
I like the fact that Hugh Yang was not afraid to just freaking own her at every chance.
Well, I liked that. They kind of set the tone.
Hugh Yang he was great.
He was in Clone Wars too.
Yeah. He was, I thought, from one to the other, it's easy to do a droid from real life to animation, but he was a bright spot in the show for sure.
I like that they set the tone with Sabine and him, and he's like, just so you know, you are the weakest Force user we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Freaking owning
That's
her.
what we want to hear.
Right. Got her.
I preferred the cute blonde
The dark side chick?
Shin.
Shin.
Shin and Hoti.
I don't know her last name.
Everyone's
It's-
calling her Shin Hottie.
It's gonna be Terry. So
Get her.
Dang. You know she wears a wig. She has really thin hair. And it's like,
How do you know?
that's where
because I
unconditional love
saw
comes in.
her in an interview, and I went, what?
What color is it?
Same color.
Silver, surfer,
Yeah.
metallic.
She looks like a Targaryen
Whoa.
in real life.
I learned about that from listening to episode.
There you go. It all comes back
46
around. Destiny.
of 99.
It's about Ahsoka, so I'm not going to get into that.
Oh.
I wish there was more to Shin. Everyone's like, Balin and Shin are so great. Oh my gosh, it's the best thing that's happened to Star Wars in a long time. Why? Why? Yeah, he leads off with a hallway scene. I could see Dave Filoni's like watching 99 Nerds, like, these guys like hallway scenes. They're about to love this guy.
It did very
Dude.
much feel like
This
On
podcast
purpose.
moves mountains for sure.
it felt like very specific fan service. It was a little weird.
Yeah.
Good hallway scene though.
Everybody loves a good hallway scene. I liked her. I thought she was good.
Yeah, but why? Why is she the way she is? What does she want?
I think the best
How did
part
she
of her,
get there?
The
What is going on?
the best part of her is like she didn't say a word for less of the first three episodes.
She literally looks like every girl
Would you say
that works
at Starbucks
in
or
a
whatever?
big city. No, any girl you'd find working at a coffee shop in a big city.
Go to Portland and go to every coffee shop and she's there. I don't know. I thought that their duo was cool, but again, like, what are they? Where are
did
they
you
going?
come from?
What is
Why
it?
are you bad? Why are your lightsabers orange? Why?
Yeah. No, I get it. It's back to Sabine real quick. I don't understand how, like, again, like the power dynamic of like towards the end, somebody described it as like her and Ezra's relationship is very like symbiotic in a way where like they need each other to be strong in the Force.
in ways.
A dyad?
Because like when she finally finds Ezra, and we can talk about Ezra next, when she finally finds Ezra, she's like, have you been, I don't know if she asked him if he's been
Have you
trained or
been
something.
seeing anyone lately?
It's like she asked him like, what's wrong with you? Because he's struggling, and he says, I missed you. And it's like he literally needs her. He literally needs her, someone to protect, someone to fight for, and them being together brings out the strength in both of them in terms of.
I'm
Force
surprised
use.
that's what you got out of that scene because
That's not what I got. Somebody else told me.
I was
Well, that's not the Jedi way. They're leaning into their emotions. And
I
their
was-
attachments.
utterly unhinged that this girl literally was willing to sacrifice the entire galaxy's safety and future to get to this guy,
Right.
and they finally meet back together, and her and him are decidedly nonplussed.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, no emotion in the show.
Yeah.
I knew you'd come back. Like, you're not. I don't know what it must be like for you too, but like, I don't know. Breaking down, crying seems appropriate or something. Like, what's
A hug. There's not a single
something?
hug in this
This
show.
is really awkward and weird.
yeah.
It's almost like you weren't expecting to find him.
And then when Ahsoka finally shows up and it's the three of them, she's like, and miss this reunion? Smile. Smile. That's it. Like, whatever.
Yeah, there's again, it comes back to every episode ends with directed by, and I'm like, no, they didn't even show up. That's what happens when there is no director on set. They didn't do anything. The actors are like, frick, this is what the script says. You guys want to just roll and do something?
That is what happened.
I felt bad about that stuff.
You felt bad about a lot of things. What else, Sean?
I liked that I started having this kind of weird fan theory about Ahsoka, that Dave Filoni is he married?
I think so.
I have this theory that Dave Filoni is truly intimidated by women. That's why he makes so many female characters.
Mm.
It's like a form of like trauma reenactment for him.
Yes, he is married.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
To who?
Oh, you know what I realized too while watching that show? I realized that the New Republic is 0 for 3. in transporting prisoners successfully. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? Because Morgan Elspeth got broken out, Moff Gideon got broken out, and then in Mandalorian season 1, there was that whole subplot of him like helping a prison ship escape. And I'm like, guys, I get it, rule of 3, you know, but like you can't do this again. This is ridiculous. Also, did we need Morgan Elspeth back in this show? Do we need her?
No. I mean, honestly, like when she showed up in Mandalorian, it was just like such a one and done forgettable character.
And especially because the episode she's in, she's completely overshadowed by the fact that Michael Biehn is a guest character in that show too. He was the security guard officer of that town she was ruling over. And Michael Biehn is like, you know, a famous 80s actor or whatever. He was the lead guy in Terminator and
Yeah. Speaking of 80s, we'll get back to that. I watched a movie from the 80s recently and we'll touch on it at the end, but yeah, she was very forgettable and I did not think she would come back as like a main antagonist.
I was surprised they like went all in on her, like she's a witch of Dathomir. She has superpowers and
sure. Well, I will say that once they got to the other galaxy, I liked that.
Okay.
Because that was very Filoni, Rebels, Clone Wars, like that whole Dathomir crew of Night Sisters. They haven't even touched that. I saw somebody tweet like, so you're telling me there's a planet with a bunch of goth chicks who have sorcery and we haven't even been there yet, but we've been to Tatooine 37 times? Like, they've got so much more to explore. So I like that they touched on that.
They're just trying something.
But I thought that Morgan was such a forgettable character. Until they got to the Night Sister witches, which somebody was breaking down how the Night Sisters were like asleep, and they were talking about how I think Ezra says that Thrawn woke up the Night Sisters. Okay. And then the Night Sisters immediately are trying to leave the planet, and then he had all that cargo, and the question is, what exactly
those are
is
bodies?
That? Okay, bodies of who? Are those more Night Sisters that were sleeping? So all of those Night Sisters were like in a trance asleep. And the second they were woken up, they were like, let's all get out of here. So they're saying that planet has those Mortis gods. And because they're there, the Night Sister whole crew was just like under their power. Like they were like in hiding because of them. They were afraid of them. And the second they were awoken, they're like, we got to get out of here. We got to get away from them. And that's where like Balin's skull is drawn to that mountain. There's something there. He felt drawn to the planet. He felt like something was going on that planet. And then we see at the end, Ahsoka gets stranded there with Sabine, and she sees her owl flying in the distance, and she's like, no, this is where we're supposed to be. So
it's all about Ahsoka becoming the daughter.
Right.
She is Ahsoka the White now.
Right.
So who is the father?
Anakin.
But I thought you said Balin's gonna be the father.
Nope.
Then who's the son?
Balin. Balin's tapping into the dark side.
Or is the shoddy gonna be? No. Sean's girl.
You can't have Balin be the son and Anakin is the father. That's age inappropriate.
That's true.
That's not fair.
So is there anything else you want to say about the Night Sister crew? Touching on...
No, I love it.
Okay.
There's so much to that. That's where Darth Maul's from. Savage. The power made Savage.
Right. There was a side-by-side, and when they give Morgan, they basically turn to a Super Saiyan witch. They give her like that power. It's the exact same chant that old Daka uses when she
is making Savage.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Or purifying Maul. Remember, he was like crazy, so they like.
Yeah, it was one of those rituals that they did, and it was word for word the exact same enchantment.
Yeah.
And then like just like the sound effects of like she's got Mother Talzin's blade, and like you can hear like there's souls trapped in this blade, and like all this faint screaming every time that like it's used or somebody gets cut or whatever. I thought that whole thing was very like Clone Wars, yes, Filoni, yes. This is all.
What happened to the
cool.
sword after Morgan died?
I don't remember. I think it just like disintegrated.
Cool.
I guess.
Does it just get like summoned?
I I don't know the logistics, Sean.
Well, I think we should talk about like the main key things that happen in this show, like the big things.
Well, let's finish the character rundown.
Who else we got?
Thrawn.
Oh, that's a big one.
Hit Thrawn. Punch him.
At the end of Rebels,
Someone
Ezra shipped Thrawn off. He
Amazon
expedited him into wherever.
Amazon Prime to that boy.
Did he send him with the Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
Yes. The Purgles wrapped themselves around his Star Destroyer and shot into the distance.
Dang. Did his Star Destroyer already have those like
Yeah.
metal tattoos on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how you knew it was Thrawn showing up. He was egotistical like
I
that.
can't remember the name of his ship. Dang it.
The Excelsior.
Yeah. No, it's something like that. It's like, frick. What is his ship called?
I'm gonna give you 2 more seconds.
I was
I don't remember. What does it start with?
C
I was fascinated.
H.
Chimera.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll say I was fascinated throughout that show that his Star Destroyer was parked over that tower and just like it was like parked onto it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of kept getting this picture of like Andy from Parks and Rec when he's just like puts his whole mouth over the water fountain thing. It just kept thinking of like the Star Destroyer just like, oh, and that's just parked up on this tower. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah, so Thrawn gets there. We learn that he found the witches. He woke them up, and it's like, all right, these witches are going to help me get home. And then the witches thank Morgan for showing up, and they say, like, you heard our cries in your dreams or something. So they were, like, speaking out to her in their dreams and in her dreams, and that's how she knew where to go or, like, how to find them, I guess.
Allegedly.
Apparently.
I thought it was the star map
Yeah, and how did they get that?
because Ahsoka found it.
Right.
And she spent like 10 minutes solving a puzzle
Oh, I hated that.
as slow as she could. And then Sabine they still didn't know what the star map meant. So Sabine had to solve it in like an excruciatingly long scene where they just slowly had to rotate the pieces into place.
Yeah.
Uncut.
It's like a Rubik's Cube that needed one more turn. Like, oh. Pew! What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Maps in Star Wars. They'll get you.
I do know that during the World Between Worlds thing, they did establish that Sabine would like, I guess, is like intuitively able to kind of like solve puzzles and these kind of problems. Like the bad guy in that episode tries to recruit her to help him figure out how to open the portal thing.
Oh,
back
that's
up.
right. Yeah.
So there was that. But I just was like, all she's got to do is rotate the pieces. That's not like all that impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We didn't talk about. Well, we can keep going with Thrawn.
Yeah.
So he's got his whole crew.
This dude is like one of Palpatine's best officers. He's
Pretty much the
Admiral.
best. Yeah.
You got Grand Moff Tarkin, and then you got Thrawn, who's pretty much next in line.
If not, Thrawn's ahead of Moff Tarkin. I don't know the exact hierarchy.
No, Grand Moff Tarkin. So it goes Palpatine, Vader, Tarkin.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
then-
I was thinking Gideon. How many Moffs are there?
Right, I don't know.
Mothballs.
Too many.
You're right. Tarkin.
But Thrawn in Rebels is like one of the best villains, because a lot of like shows and movies, when there's a villain and like the whole story wraps up and it's always like the villain's ignorance is his downfall, and like the hero just bests him because
He starts
ignorant to something.
monologuing.
Thrawn is not ignorant in any way. You can't beat Thrawn. It's very like, he's very tactical. He's 3 steps ahead.
Yep.
He studies his opponents. Like, he is a worthy.
He's calculating.
Yeah,
He's analytical.
He's analytical and calculated. That's
I did get the impression that they tried very hard to communicate that as his character throughout the show. I was distracted, though, a little bit by the fact that it seemed like he was trying so hard to talk around the problem, which is like, they just need to get off this planet now. And there was like needless weird like delays about that.
Sure.
But that's not Thrawn's fault. That actor did fine. That was a really cool performance. I just wish they gave him better material to work with.
I mean, you said that what was missing with Ahsoka was Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah, the actual voice of her in Clone Wars.
The fact that they used the actor,
Yeah.
who we've talked about, the
Yeah.
actor, he's a very high profile guy. he's the voice in Rebels, and he's the voice in the real life, and it's like that makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Sure.
Especially for his character, because he has such a unique voice, and it's like it allows you to put yourself right into that world.
Yeah.
And there's no delay. There's no this is kind of off, because even we talked about the good thing about Anakin showing up. Even that, you put him into that Clone Wars armor. Now listen, there were streamers out there that were weeping at the sight of Anakin because it was just so heartwarming.
Because the last time he wept, he got a lot of views and a lot of likes.
Oh my gosh.
So now he's
Sean.
just gonna keep milking that.
Cry, Sean.
You know what? Shout out to Star Wars Theory. We're coming.
Whoa. Taking shots. I didn't cry because because
I'm gonna use that out of context
because
whenever I want.
because I felt like this is only 80% of the Anakin I know. Because Hayden Christensen, I'm so glad he's back. I'm so glad he's showing his face and that fans are supporting him. But he's not the same Hayden Christensen that was in the movies. And you put him in that Clone Wars armor, and it didn't fit him very well.
Right.
It looked like a really high-end cosplay.
Oh man.
So I wasn't like, oh my gosh, he's finally in the armor. I was like, that armor kind of looks goofy on him, but Ahsoka's doing great. Like, you know what I mean?
I did get that sense throughout the show, didn't I? A lot of this feels like just cosplay.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
it is the problem of going from animated to
That's
live
Exactly.
action.
Especially like the one thing with Anakin is like it's a person.
Right.
I'm a person and my name is Anakin.
Ahsoka is like Togruta or whatever.
Right.
And it's like she has the headdress and it's like not realistic.
Yeah.
So for you to try to make it realistic is just kind of weird. I don't know.
think it also really kind of screwed them over with like their fight scenes because like there's just no way Rosario Dawson was going to be able to like move around like the character in that
I
show.
will say, so like that was a big thing. She felt very slow and it wasn't, but there's that scene where, what's his face?
Balin.
Mickelson.
Oh.
Lars Mickelson. What?
Thrawn.
Thrawn. Where he rains down fire from the ship on them
Yeah.
and they're moving through. If you watch, Ahsoka's like sped up, and when Ahsoka jumps out of the ship, you see how fast she is?
Yeah.
That felt good. I liked that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. But
They need to show her at 1.25.
yeah.
I watched almost the entirety of that show at 1.125 speed. I think
So
I
it
told
felt
you guys.
okay for you. Then.
No, I think I have multiple times I talked about I could not believe how slow some of that stuff felt regardless.
Yeah.
So
And anytime it was like a shot of like Ahsoka running like from behind, her headdress like doesn't move, but her body does.
Right.
I hate that. It made me feel so
it's like
uneasy.
it's like that weird chicken, like when they like hold the chicken and it like never moves.
Yeah,
its
they got
head.
that. They got that internal gyroscopic thing.
It's like a stabilizer, a video stabilizer, which I have one around here somewhere.
Why would you pay for a stabilizer when you could just have your camera
Just
strapped
put a
to a chicken?
mounted camera on a chicken's head.
What else were we talking about?
Anyway,
I
Thrawn,
sidetracked us.
Rosario Dawson, and Hayden Christensen,
Right.
Thrawn.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Rex showed up, David.
Yeah, that was great.
It's real life Rex. Oh my gosh! It's
Was the
I
guy in
mean,
actual armor though, or was it more CG armor?
Dude, just the amount of like times I could nerd out during those episodes. Like, I just had a moment where it was showing little Ahsoka and like the progression, and then it showed her with 2 blue lightsabers.
Yeah.
And I go, Emily, this is the Siege of Mandalore. And then Anakin's like, I don't remember this one. She goes, yeah, you weren't here. This is the Siege of Mandalore. And I go, oh, I love it. I knew it before it even happened.
Why didn't they have it be a scene where Anakin and her would have been in the same battle?
He wasn't there. He was going to save Palpatine.
I get it, but why not put them in a location where they were in a battle together?
Because that was her peak, Sean. They had to show Ahsoka at her peak.
So just fit that square peg into a round hole.
Let her
and just-
cook. let her cook.
All right.
No, that I really like those episodes, but the show lost me. Episodes 1 through 3, I was ready to give up.
Yeah, you were not happy.
And then it did win me over, and Ahsoka did win me over too, the character.
Yeah.
Where I started like I could get behind it. I still didn't love it, but I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then what was I gonna ask you guys? Sabine. Okay, so this show is about Sabine's journey becoming a Force user. How did you guys feel about how they did that? Because I hate when they just, Finn can use the Force now. But I did see George Lucas come out and say anybody can wield the Force.
Yeah, I liked that because I think that what makes Star Wars work really well is it's a fundamentally religious story. And so I've always felt like there's something kind of interesting and engaging about that, like that spiritual aspect of Star Wars. Like the mystery of the Force is kind of like scratches his itch in audiences. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons I think people fail to realize why like the Avatar movies are so successful. It's like because spiritual movies work for people. So like with Star Wars, it's like, you know, Luke doesn't have to, it's not really about Luke as the son of a Jedi. It's more like, well, you know, you should learn the ways of the Force like your father did. It's like, it doesn't have to be like a genetic thing. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that in this show with Sabine, they just kind of try to reconnect that idea again of like, hey, if you really want to learn the Force, I could probably show you. Yeah. We can make this happen.
But keep in mind, there is the midi-chlorian count too in people.
I have always... Listen,
determine
one of these,
how powerful they are.
One of these days, I'm going to do my, not a director's commentary because I didn't direct the movie, but I'm going to do my commentary on Phantom Menace. And I'm going to break down why everybody is wrong about midi-chlorians, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Because it's like nobody even watches that scene.
This show felt a lot like episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I kept getting like...
Except the part where I didn't like it.
Oh my gosh. No, it just felt like it. I don't know. The way they shot it, the fights. Oh, when Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine in the finale walk up to Morgan Elsbeth and she's like, I got this one, go around. It was literally like scene for scene of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan seeing Darth Maul and being like, we'll handle this.
Except
go
without
around.
the cool music. Dun, dun,
Right.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, dude, if they would have brought some duel, forget it.
But we also get zombie troopers.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about this.
That was sweet.
I thought that was awesome.
That was
Why
done.
was that sweet?
Because the Night Sisters have that power.
You broke your mic. I muted you. No, I didn't. Oh, I did mute you. Good. My bad. It's not
I'm back.
good.
No, it was so...
Dumb.
Again, you have Night Sisters, go full Night Sister. And that is full Night Sister. Zombies.
Can I ask you though?
No.
Is it just a fan service?
No, he's telling a story.
Because I want to tell you.
He's taking the pieces.
I want to explain to you what happened. These 3 Jedi face off against like 40 stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And kill all of them like it's really nothing.
Right.
Even though these are supposedly the elite Thrawn strike force.
No, they're not the elite.
They're the volunteers.
They're the ones that were stuck on the planet with him all these years.
They're the ones that go out of their way to wear dumb, weird cosplay red ribbons around their armor. They're obsessed 501st dorks like your boy in Jamaica. And then all I know is they kill all of them. And so the witches do their weird little magic spell.
Yeah.
Making them all zombies, thus making the 40 stormtroopers less threatening. And then it's like, I guess this mob is going to just awkwardly chase us up some stairs. You could just run out. You could just outrun them.
Right. Or just cut their legs off.
Or do anything. No, they can't. They didn't. Not a single limb was lost in that show. They gave us one Death Trooper head cut off.
That's because we're going to say it once, we're going to say it twice, we're going to say it a third time. Stop using FX lightsabers when you're filming these scenes. Go back to whatever you were doing in the movies and stop lighting that thing up and bouncing it off of armor.
I think they did better in this show.
Better, yes, but
Ezra turned up a little bit.
I mean,
He started stabbing.
We didn't talk about Ezra yet. I liked Ezra a lot.
I liked Ezra a lot.
Here's an issue, though.
I liked Ezra because he was immediately like a guy who showed up and he had charm.
Yeah.
Like he's acting.
That's how he is.
He's performing.
And I'll tell you what, when he first showed up, I was like
He's got those baby blue eyes.
I was a little off-put by the actor that they chose. And then I think you sent me a picture of his parents from Rebels next to the actor, and he looks just like his dad from the show. I forgot what his parents looked like
There you
in the
go.
show. So they actually nailed that casting.
Some good casting.
And I didn't realize it. I liked Ezra a lot in this
And I'll tell you this
show.
When I watched, I only watched like season 1 of Rebels, really,
Yeah.
parts of season 2, but I instantly got the sense of like, that's Ezra. That's the character.
Yeah.
That's totally him. He's older. He's got a sick beard.
Sure does.
Good looking guy. But besides that, that's the character.
They
Good for
nailed him.
They got it.
One plot hole is,
Sabine didn't though.
why did Hu Yang have a kyber crystal just chilling in the ship apparently for Ezra to create a lightsaber on his own?
It's like the Infinity Stones at the TBA. It's like they're just sitting in the desk.
I guess, but the thing is, Hu Yang would understand more than anybody the spiritual connection that a Jedi is supposed to have with their stone, because he is a part of the team that always take the younglings to, what is it, Ilium?
Yeah, which they turned Star Killer base into in the sequence.
Right. But he was a part of that, of like, you're going to go out, you're going to go into the cave, your crystal will call to you. It's like this big ritual ceremony type, coming of age moment for these young Jedi. To,
Sounds very Catholic.
probably,
Take
but
this bread, take this cup, hold it up high. That whole.
but it's like Ezra pops on the ship and it's just like he's
He's
assembling.
like, "Guy, listen, bro, I can make a lightsaber. Just give me the pieces. I can do this. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have to be all weird about this."
But it was a nice nod to Kanan, because he ends up making a saber that looks just like
Yeah,
Kanan's,
it is Kanan's.
which was great. I liked that a lot.
I thought that was sweet.
There
too.
was a slight nod to the fact that in Rebels, all the lightsabers were thinner, because he I can't remember exactly what Ezra says, but he's like, oh no, this transmitter is just way too, like, I don't know what he says.
Yeah, they're making a joke about the lightsabers being thinner.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
in the animated show.
Yeah.
Sure.
They said what they should have done is they should have had him ignite it. It would have been really thin, and then Hu Yang would have just been like, oh no, let me adjust that for you, and just like made it normal. Like,
So another thing kind of like that, when Ahsoka hops in the Purgle and she's got all that time to kill, and she's talking to Hu Yang, she's like, tell me a story.
She went full Pinocchio, by the way. I
Yeah.
didn't see that coming. I made a joke about it while I was watching the episode, and then they literally just had her go Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Which I was like, wow.
Hop on in.
I also did not see coming that she would be in a weird Togruta spacesuit fighting enemy ships in space.
Yeah.
and I said to you, in Rebels, in Clone Wars,
gosh.
that scene slaps.
Yeah, we've seen that before. Clone
In
Wars.
real life, it's kind of a swing and a miss.
kinda weird.
It just doesn't translate.
I just was thinking, like, if I'm a bad guy ship and I see the lady on the ship with lightsabers, I wouldn't fly anywhere near that ship. I just shoot at a distance.
100%.
Right.
So
Let me get it close.
it's like Kylo Ren thinking,
I was just
I
thinking
could
that.
shoot Rey, or I could.
Yeah.
I'm going to run you over. Yikes.
Oh no, she cut off the wing.
So what else, David? What about Ezra?
No, I was going to say, I like that scene. Ahsoka and Hu Yang are talking,
Oh, yeah.
and she's like, why don't you tell me a story? And he's like, well, I mean, our entire history is made up of 3 parts, or something like that.
Yeah, like volume 1, 2, 3 or something.
Yeah. And then they said something about how Volume 1 is the best. And it was just like Dave Filoni giving his 2 cents of like the prequels are the best. Which went over my head at first. And then I thought about it.
Yeah,
was
I
like,
didn't.
That is totally a nod.
I didn't catch that initially.
But I thought that was cool. I liked that.
I have a note I wrote for that particular scene. I can see it right now in front of me. I wrote, and again, this is the scene where her and the robot are just on a road trip, autopilot, just waiting for the whale. And I wrote, Ahsoka is literally falling asleep before my eyes. She's just very bored in that scene. Would you like me to tell you a story? I don't know, maybe. It's like Janet Van Dyke.
Crosses her arms.
Smug.
Like, are you on Vicodin? Are you okay? What's wrong with you? Ahsoka, wake up.
Rosario. I mean, she was recovering from all that training. 2 hours a day, Sean.
She's tired.
Is there any other characters we didn't hit on?
Balin.
mean, we touched on him a little bit. Do you want to touch him more?
I don't want to touch him.
Do it.
They had Hera's son, Jason.
Oh, Jason, yeah.
Jason.
He plays a key role. He's kind of the one that senses that Ahsoka's still out there. She's still alive.
I was a little weirded out that he is a human Twi'lek hybrid.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were down with that stuff in Star Wars, but then I looked it up. Apparently, it's been a thing in Legends and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I guess what was weird is what I saw was they usually just look like green humans,
Sure.
but he's just like a boy with green hair dye.
He is in one scene in Rebels at the very end of Rebels.
Well, because he's probably
It's
just
like, oh my gosh, they had a son.
because he's a widow baby.
Yeah. Well, at that point, he's like a toddler.
because it's a fast forward in
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
In the
okay.
finale, they just like fast forward.
Yeah. And we get a C-3PO cameo.
Yeah. Leia sent him.
Little Leia sent me action.
So
Mon Mothma.
That was a moment that was a fan service moment I can forgive, because a part of me was like, at the end of the day, I'm like, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Let's just get Anthony Daniels. Might as well just have him do this needless.
Yeah.
Like, that scene felt like it existed literally to have that. They were like, word came down from the top. Hey guys, you need to have an R2D2 or C-3PO cameo. How am I possibly going to do that? I don't know. She's going to be talking to senators and he's going to have to come in.
Yeah.
I'm here for, looks at the camera, Leia Organa. You know her, right?
Wasn't the princess music playing in the background?
Might as well have been.
Probably.
If they could afford it.
Oh.
I didn't know. I actually read a comment that said like, I don't know who composed the music for the show, but somebody said like, oh wow, like just really was impressed by the music. And I felt like I was taking crazy pills. I didn't notice the music at all.
I noticed the music in the finale and I loved it because I said this about Game of Thrones. The violin that comes in for when Cece blows up the crypt. That episode, I remember saying the music is so great. They did the same type of music for the finale with the zombie troopers. I thought that was awesome.
That is actually, I saw a breakdown of this. That is actually a classic, like, horror. It's actually like the, This Is Halloween song, or HALLOWW.
That's not how you spell Halloween.
Come on, man. It's like a classic, like, violin riff.
Right.
And it's like a horror genre, Halloween genre type thing. So when the zombies come back to life, they play that little riff. Somebody was breaking down the score and how like there was little stuff like that kind of sprinkled into these episodes. Let me see who did the score.
How come every time a lot of characters talk to each other in that show, especially Ahsoka, they like never faced each other?
No, I don't know, Sean. I don't know why it was like that. I don't know why the dialogue was so clunky.
So in
#directing.
So in directing, in any scene, there's let me bring it down to the bare bones. You are a director of a high school play, and you have two teenagers who don't know a thing about acting, and in fact they don't have any set, they don't have props, they don't have costumes. It's just two teenagers standing in front of a big old curtain in the high school auditorium. And your job as director is to somehow make their conversation interesting. Do you follow me? So you have what's called blocking. Blocking is where the characters are standing in a scene in relationship to each other. Okay? They move around. This guy stands back onto that side, and then he says this line, so he moves over to the other side. Then there's something called business. Business is like you're watching Law & Order, and the guy is talking to the police. The police are interviewing a waitress at a diner, and not only is she walking around the room, she's like picking up stuff off of tables. She's like handing stuff to people. Business is what the actor does to make to do something dynamic with the scene, to not just stand there and say lines or sit there and say lines. They got to do something, move. This show had a very disturbing lack of blocking and business. It's like, hey, the only thing that's changed in this scene is Ahsoka made like a table come up from the floor, so let's sit at it and talk.
Yeah.
And then
that was pretty cool.
Get up and walk away. Except that you get your dirty feet all over the table. And then she left her cup on it and it just went onto the ground.
It's disgusting.
That was weird.
So to fully recap this show.
And then at the end, Thrawn gets away.
So, yeah. At the end of Rebels, Ezra launches Thrawn into another galaxy. We don't know where.
Yep.
So the Ahsoka show is literally they find Ezra and Thrawn gets back to the galaxy. Yeah. That is it.
Everybody that went to the new galaxy in hopes of bringing them back ended up getting stuck on the planet. Ahsoka, Sabine, and Morgan.
Balin.
And Shin.
I'll remind you that Balin and Shin were literally not in that last episode at all, except for like
The last 2 seconds.
yeah, like oh by the way, Shin is with the Raiders now, and Balin is on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
That was unacceptable.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm like,
like,
these
what
are
the
your
heck?
main villains. You didn't think about how to include them in your finale.
Yeah.
Why?
I think his death had something to do with it. I'm telling you.
So here's something that's interesting though. When Morgan is going off to fight Ahsoka, Thrawn talks to her like, we're not ready to leave yet. They're going to breach, they're going to get on the ship. We need more time. Basically saying like, go delay them and you're probably going to die because we're going to leave without you.
Yeah.
And he says, for the Empire. And she says, for the Empire. And then as he walks away, she says, for Dathomir. And then as his ship's pulling away, he tells the ship to open fire on the Dathomir, or on the Night Sisters temple.
It was Minas Tirith.
Yeah, it was. He tells him to open fire on it.
Another ripoff.
And the witches in the background give him this look like that is our sacred temple and you're just going to blow it up. So there's this underlying thing of like, he's taken all these night witches and he's taken these 3 witches back with him, and they are there for Thrawn and they have pledged to Thrawn. But at the end of the day, they want Dathomir to be reborn. So it's like, that's what they're setting up with this whole, we're going back, he's bringing them back, and they are loyal to him, but are they really?
They're just trying to get
Dathomir back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're about to see a full-fledged, powerful Dathomir
Yo.
up in this.
Wow.
It's crazy because the
More goth chicks.
the timeline of Star Wars,
Please.
the timeline
Taylor
of Star Wars
Swift.
is so set in stone with like the stories
Right.
that like how do you
Yeah.
keep
That's
making
what I was
more
gonna
stories?
say.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like such an awkward problem that they keep. The Mandalorian works because it felt like it's so separated from everything else.
Yeah.
Like he can just be this bounty hunter outlaw, and that's like cool. Just like try whatever.
Freaking sick.
Yeah, and then he's like, just raising this like kid by himself. There's something cool about that. Like just let it be an interesting story in Star Wars, but it's all this other stuff can't be anything.
right.
I mean, I joke about it every time, but I'm like, boy, I can't wait to see Ahsoka die in this season.
Right.
Because it's like she's not allowed to be around
Right.
And that's the big
after a little bit. Same with Thrawn. There's nothing Thrawn can do of consequence
Yeah.
because I already know what happens.
Nah, he
Right.
could bring Palpatine back and answer that question.
No.
Yeah. I think,
Don't even answer it. I'd rather it be a mystery because there's no answer that will be satisfying.
Yeah. I think you're right.
It's like shoelaces, honestly, these Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. The action happens at the end of the shoelace, okay? That's where it's when it's at the top of the shoe.
Yeah.
That's where the good stuff happens. All this is, it's just threading the aglets.
You're right.
That's all this is.
Nice aglet drop.
I learned that from Phineas and Ferb.
We all did.
There you go. It's
Every
true.
single one of us did.
I didn't even watch that show, but I know that.
Ain't that the
It was
truth?
revealed to me.
Shout out to aglet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I love the show. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I just
Scale 1 to 10.
at 10. Why are we stopping at 10?
Sean loved it. Sean, I loved it.
I'm gonna opt out. I don't know, because it's so open ended.
You loved the ending though.
I did, but the problem is, I love all the loose ends they opened up. I just
Yeah.
got to see how they tie those up.
Sure. A nice nod.
I don't know.
To the Ezra character at the end. He shows back up at the New Republic station wearing
That scene
That was good.
when he comes out of the ship. Did you guys see the parallel?
Which part?
It is shot for shot when Palpatine comes out of his ship in the movie.
Okay.
When the Emperor comes out.
Yeah.
It's legit.
Right. It was classic Ezra though, because he in Rebels, he spends probably 40% of rebels wearing stormtrooper armor.
Yeah.
He's always undercover as a stormtrooper.
Have they done the joke before though, where he might accidentally get killed by his buddies because they don't know he's a good guy?
I don't think so. Maybe not. I can't remember. But so for him to escape wearing stormtrooper outfit and then show up wearing stormtrooper outfit, that was pretty clutch. You know,
I thought it would have been
recognizes him right away.
I thought it would have been a little bit more interesting if he came out, but he just had the helmet on. That would have been kind of a fun little gag of that.
Sure.
Because a part of me was like, bro, what are you doing? She's gonna get.
And then Hera
You're
shows
stressing
no
everybody.
emotion.
You're just stressing everybody out.
No Zeb. That was a swing and a miss.
That was
I think
weird.
I think that's
That
next
was
season.
very weird.
They get him to then go and get Sabine, and
How? Why?
they band back together.
Can you imagine everything they went through to get to that galaxy, and now they have to make another season to get those guys out?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, come on is right.
They should have all died.
But what's going to happen on that planet, Sean? There's something about that planet that was calling.
Ahsoka's gonna die,
Oh.
as she should. And then Sabine's probably gonna die. I think I asked you guys this. Do Sabine and Ezra have like a...
No, they're just friends.
I mean, they kind of always had this playful thing, and like he was kind of like crushing on her for a while, but
Well, he's got that beard now. And he left that like last minute like Snapchat for her.
got
Like,
her.
hey, Sabine, you're like a sister to me. And I'm like, oh,
Got her with the sister.
Sabine. I did write. I did
Sister
have
zone.
another note here that said, I don't remember. It was at the end of one of the episodes. It says, Ezra and Sabine hug, and maybe more. And then they didn't.
She's about to pull a Leia on him,
What's that mean?
kissing that brother.
To make Zeb jealous?
Somebody's got to. Zeb. Live action Zeb was good in Mando.
I mean, do
the
people
5
in
seconds
Star
we
Wars
saw him.
not have love lives?
I mean, other than Hera and Kanan.
Kanan's dead.
Hashtag Jason. Yeah, Kanan's dead. Once you lose your love,
Name a couple that's alive in Star Wars right now.
you and that chick.
Right answer.
What do you think, David?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all about Anakin and Padme.
I mean, those Purgle pods.
Why isn't Padme the daughter? And Obi-Wan is the son. Obi-Wan's the father, Padme's the daughter, Anakin's the son.
Dang, you're right.
I did it.
Dang.
It took 5 seconds.
Anything
Nah.
else about Ahsoka, David?
Yeah, I like what they're doing.
Score 1 to 10.
I'm not gonna do that because I don't know where it's going.
Wow.
But I
Just
like
completely
how they
refusing to do what we've
Hey,
always done.
Hey, it's
Oh,
okay to
jeez.
reserve judgment.
Oh my gosh.
I like how they you're with them now.
That's what they said to Ahsoka at the end.
Yeah.
In the timeline, like I was saying, with the stories, like we know Luke is the top dog in the galaxy right now.
Sure.
So for them to put a show together, call it Ahsoka, and have it actually have any sort of real stakes, like I was scared they were gonna force something, and like, but I felt
no pun
like
intended.
They
Oh my
did, though. They
gosh.
did your World Between Worlds thing.
I love what they did. He took from things that already exist. He didn't force anything, and he created a story. And I'm telling, he's going to answer this question about Palpatine somehow returned.
Right.
And
that's-
it is. I think it's awesome what they're doing right now.
Wow.
I love it.
Wow.
I love the whole Night Sister Thrawn thing.
I
I love it. That is perfect.
Dave, do you not know how Palpatine returned? Look,
No, I
look at me. Do you
Somehow.
not know? Do you need somebody to explain that to you? Do you need them to show it and tell you what happened?
Yeah, I want the story.
That's awkward.
I want details.
You know, like in TV shows, they don't ever show a character going to the bathroom, even though we accept obviously they had to go to the bathroom at some point.
Right.
That's like cloning Palpatine. I don't need to see that on screen.
See, though, we talked about this with the Mandalorian.
I saw the bathroom. I saw the toilet. I saw the toilet paper. I saw all those pods with Gideon's clones in them. I get it.
We talked about that. You dismissed it as in, we got to get rid of Moff Gideon. Did they, though?
Maybe more.
Was it a clone? Are there any more clones? Did those clones really die? Probably. But we don't know.
Right.
All right. So I think that wraps up Ahsoka.
Man,
Yeah.
to think that all of this went out of control because of that goddamn Dexter Jetster.
Yeah, dude.
It all started with him.
That's a Camino saber dart.
Yeah, he's the
I ain't
key.
seen one of them since I was prospecting on the Rishi Maze beyond the outer rim.
Dude,
And then he's
his
like,
mustache was so
He's
fierce.
like, these Caminoans, they're cloners.
damn good ones too.
and I'm like, wow, cool. Clone Wars, I get it. Yeah. But that just screwed everything up.
Sure did.
Because if you can clone people, I guess
Oh man,
sky's the limit.
dude,
It's like anybody can be a Skrull,
Secret Invasion.
but they're not going to do anything with that idea.
No, definitely not.
You know what I told you guys that I wish would have happened that would have like immediately got me drooling about the show. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this show. Remember when she was they get to the star map stone pillar henge thing. That poor Balin was standing there for like 3 episodes straight with nothing to do.
Yeah.
Well, they get there and they're like trying to stop the star map ceremony from completing. And so Ahsoka grabs the little star map ball.
Right.
I was like, oh man, wouldn't it have been great if she grabbed it and like something about the Force, and it like literally blew her hand off. I'm like, oh, classic Star Wars. The hero has to lose a hand. Yes.
Right.
But they didn't. I don't think that girl got a scratch on her that entire show.
Except for the part where she died and came back. But yeah, you're totally right.
She fell into water.
That's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then she was dry when she came out.
I can't explain it, Sean. I don't know.
And then they hit people with lightsabers, but it doesn't cut through them.
Never does. Not
then,
anymore.
And then a literal Star Destroyer unloaded its guns at 3 people running below it, and they were fine.
They were just so fast. Like the Flash. Just so fast,
It's kind of embarrassing.
I guess. So let's conclude, Sean. You have a top 5 list that we've all been dying to hear.
Yeah, let me see. I actually have several top 5 lists, so I'm going to just go with the one that I really would like to end on a positive note. I'm going to talk about my top 5 YouTube channels that I like to watch.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds fire.
Yeah, I watch, as me and you have discussed at length before, I am a huge consumer of YouTube.
Right.
I'm like one of 6 people that pays for YouTube Premium regularly.
I still haven't done that.
And they're making it way harder for you not to pay for that lately.
No.
My understanding is everything is like ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Almost
Disney.
AIDS at this point.
Yeah, Disney. You know, Disney Plus just changed their thing. I was so offended. I couldn't.
They raised their price?
I couldn't. No, I couldn't.
No, sign-ins.
I couldn't steal teasies anymore.
Yeah. Dang.
And so I'm like, all right, well, I gotta watch these shows. So I paid for a month, and then that when that came up, I went to watch Ahsoka, and I had a version. Then they gave me Disney Plus, but it's got ads,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, I gotta pay another tier now to stop this
Oh my
madness.
gosh.
I'm sorry.
Really
dude.
get you. Netflix is doing that too. That's why YouTube's better.
Okay.
Go to YouTube. Be a convert. So, number 5, Sean's top 5 YouTube channels. This is kind of a dual one because it's the same person doing it. It's called The Operations Room / The Intel Report. That's his second channel.
Okay.
The Operations Room is this really creative YouTube channel where they do analysis of like real world battles, but like from a top down view.
Ooh, I like that.
And they have animating all the little shoulders and the tanks and the trucks, and they're narrating the entire chronologically sequence of events. So like really popular battles too. Like there was the TV show Band of Brothers. Very, very successful HBO show based off real battles, real guys that were in World War II. And so the Operations Room does a full breakdown of literally moment for moment how that whole battle in some of these scenes played out.
That's
They
sweet.
did a series on Black Hawk Down, the actual battle of Black Hawk Down, and like where everybody was in geographically.
Nice.
Like just such a cool, like instructional, educational.
What about the
channel.
Battle of Helm's Deep?
I can tell you that on April Fools, one of the April Fools of a couple years ago, he did, and I literally watched this after April Fools, so I did not know it was an April Fool's joke. He did a breakdown of The Hunt for Red October, which is like a submarine Cold War movie, and I didn't know that this wasn't a true story until literally the very end. I was like, how come I never heard about this? Oh my gosh, this is extraordinary. I can't believe this happened in the 70s or the 80s. Wow. And then at the end I was like, oh,
Got him.
got me.
All right, so that's number
So it's number
5.
5. Number 4, Folding Ideas, hosted by Dan Olson. Folding Ideas is another YouTube channel that's kind of like a video essay style. Dan Olson cut his teeth on doing a lot of movie analysis stuff. I've learned a lot from him on how to watch movies and understand movies better, like deconstructing what they're about. But he's also been doing a lot of really successful, like big, like massive scale documentaries about stuff. Like he did a 2-hour-long video on NFTs that like broke the internet.
You sent me that, yeah.
He just recently released a big long video about the whole GameStop stocks thing that went down and how that whole thing was a madness.
Right.
So he's a very smart guy. He clearly puts a lot of time and effort into the stuff he makes. So I love Folding Ideas. I think he's just a smart guy, and he's helped me understand movies in a way that maybe I never would have before.
Cool beans.
Number 3, a channel called Like Stories of Old. Like Stories of Old is another video essay style YouTube channel that covers movies. And it is, I don't know where the guy's from. I think he's Norwegian, Dutch, Scandinavian. I don't know. But he is a guy who does these kind of narrations about movies. But he doesn't just like break down a movie. Let's say he does Interstellar. He does like a breakdown of Interstellar. He doesn't just do it from like, cinematography and the direction and the science. He does it like, he always like breaks things down from like a philosophical, existential level. And like his videos are always like, whenever he puts out a video, it takes me like a month to watch it because I know I'm going to be like crying by the end of it.
Dang. I didn't cry.
He's like, it's like so emotional and it's like so thick with catharsis, and it like kind of makes you love movies you never thought you'd care about.
I'd love to see him do Hot Rod.
He probably could make you cry doing a whole video essay about like why we love absurdist humor,
Yeah.
like what it does to the soul and everything. So I feel like that's an example of that part of my brain and that part of my mind that like connects movies to my heart.
Sure.
So Like Stories of Old is fantastic. Number 2, another video essay YouTube channel, Knowing Better. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Knowing Better.
No.
Negative.
Knowing Better is a YouTube channel that does a lot of documentary style stuff about trends. And my understanding is the premise of the show, or the premise of his channel, Knowing Better, is he'll always do a long video. They used to be like 10, 20 minutes. Now they're like an hour and a half because he puts so much work into them. But he'll always do this whole analysis of some topic. And then he always ends the episode the same way. It's always going to be, so if you thought blank, 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 well, now you know better. So he just released a video on vegetarianism, and it's a history about vegetarianism in the United States you never could have imagined.
Really?
That's all I'll say.
Dude.
He's done videos about, it's always like, you can't believe how interesting something can be. He did a video about like the history of the running shoe that, and like, it's like, oh, well, okay, whatever, Nike or whoever just wanted to design better running shoes. It's like, no, dude, it gets into politics.
Yeah.
It gets into the Cold War. It gets into like legislative changes to medicine and
Oh my gosh.
capitalism.
Whoa.
It's crazy. So Knowing Better is really, really cool guy.
I'm about to hit that subscribe, dude.
I think what I like about that guy in his videos so much is because he's not an eccentric dude. He is just like a dude, and I appreciate the work he's putting in to do it his very best. Like his lighting isn't always great. It's like I want to I'm like, bro, I need to get you some new lights. I'll pay for them. But like it's just a great experience. I learn a lot from it. I appreciate him outlining politics and social issues in these ways that are like
Sure.
refreshing. It's like, okay, now I get the big picture. I understand why there's disagreements. I can kind of see the both sides.
Sure.
So it's made me smarter. It's made me a more understanding human being.
Well, there you go.
However, all of these channels pale in comparison to my number one favorite YouTube channel. It is called Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong.
Oh my gosh.
And it is a video series where a guy, usually using a toy dinosaur as a prop, breaks down why anatomically the toys are so incorrect from real dinosaurs. And it's like, it sounds like, oh, this nerdy paleontologist guy, geek, is just like nitpicking all the things. Yes, but he spends like an hour teaching you the history of like how they discovered the Velociraptor and all the different breakthroughs in scientific journals that were put out that like discovered this about it and this about it. And he teaches you anatomy, and it's like so fascinating. And also it's just talking about dinosaurs.
Yeah, dude.
It's great.
Heck yeah. That was a baller list. And
Dinosaurs are wrong.
I'm glad you hit on that. One thing I saw was a skeleton, and it's like this really scary looking skeleton. And it's like, this is a dinosaur, or this was some kind of mythical beast. And there's all these artist renderings of like what this thing could look like, just based off the skeleton and the skull. And then you find out that it's just a hippo skull.
Right. Like if you tried to like just like stretch skin over a hippo skull, it would look like some monster.
Right.
Because you're ignoring the muscle anatomy.
And literally just seeing that is like, dude, we have no idea what these dinosaurs looked like.
But that's the thing though, is you learn we can, because there is all this science that goes into knowing how muscles attached to bones. And they like, he talks about like the breakthroughs in computer modeling now where they can tell you exactly how something ran because they have like the physics algorithm break it down, like what would have been the most efficient method.
Interesting.
You also learn a lot about like just anatomy in general.
Biomechanics.
Yeah, like why our eyes do what they do and why your ligaments work the way they do. It's like super fascinating stuff.
You've got me, dude. You got me hook, line, and sinker. So now I need you to sell 99 Nerds to the people in the same way you sold those 5 channels.
Yeah, 99 Nerds is just a wholesome podcast of 3 dudes being bros,
Dude.
a couple of guys being dudes,
Say less.
and he's okay.
All right, there we go.
That's it. That'll do it.
Well, that was a great top 5. David's going to hit us with a top 5 next time. I don't care what it is, David.
Okay.
Top 5 pickle flavors.
I don't have. I literally don't know any.
Well, you've got time.
Pickle flavors.
You don't have to do pickle flavors. That'll be mine. No, probably not.
I might do my top 5 favorite 99 Nerd episodes.
That'll be a good one. I think that'll do it. What do we want to ask the peeps?
Did you like Ahsoka? Where do you think it's going? What did you not like? What did you like? Christian Haydenson's back.
I can't put this many graphics on the screen, Dave.
We don't need
Hang
all
on.
the graphics.
His name is not Christian Haydenson. Hayden Christensen is back.
I didn't catch it.
That's what I'm going to name my son, that Christian Haydenson.
This has been episode 49. We're back in the studio.
Yep.
You guys, we're about to do our 50th episode.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even. There are those who said this day would never come.
Should we get Rice Krispie treats?
Yes, all of them.
I'll bring them.
What are our enemies going to say now?
Dude, they're dead.
There's that one guy who commented
They're
on a
on
video
David's
early
wall.
on.
Yeah.
Said,
Hater.
fudge you people. You suck.
What's the average podcast lifespan, Sean? Isn't it something like
7 episodes.
7 episodes?
Dang. We're like,
More like 7 times 7.
oh my gosh, biblical.
That is biblical.
God's promise.
Should we just stop after
That's the
50?
number of completion. This is our last podcast.
no.
We'll get to 99. And, and if I die before then, there's more than enough video and audio to make an AI avatar.
Yeah,
of
we can just
myself,
AI you. It'll be easy. I may be here. I'm hoping I'll be here for number 50, but my wife is like on a scale of 1 to pregnant.
Super pregnant.
She's a 99. So we'll see what happens. But
she's due like any minute now, right?
yeah, like any minute now. But we'll see. This has been episode 49. 99 Nerds back in the building. This is podcasting and